Hello and welcome to the Roughneck Minute, a Movies by Minute podcast where we go over the movie Starship Troopers 1 minute at a time. I'm one of your hosts, Matthew.
And I'm your other host, Johan.
And we're at minute 96. This minute begins with Dizzy with very, very deep and grievous wounds and ends with a tanker firing at the evac Skyhook. Man, she is in a bad shape.
Yeah. When you were talking about it last week, how she even said, like, how could I speak when I have my lungs punctured? And Verhoeven was like, no, that's what we're doing. In the script, she was supposed to be stabbed in the neck, like just one of the arteries, which would have allowed her to speak. So I don't know why they just didn't go that route.
Well, I mean, she'd be gurgling and speaking, kind of, but yeah.
Yeah, but you can you may bleed quicker with the neck, but who knows? But it probably would have been a better option because she would be able to say something, last minute.
Well, yeah, so we get Ace, trying to fend off the bug that just pretty much caused all this damage to Diz. And Rico is trying very, very hard to kind of stabilize her as best as he can. And his idea of stabilizing her is to pull the scythe out of her.
Which is, isn't that like the worst thing you can do? Because then it would allow the blood to be released.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I'm not a nurse or a shock trauma person or anything like that, but it just seems to me that if you have something in you that is keeping the wound, pretty much in effect closed up, you might want to keep it in there because, I mean, otherwise you're going to be stuffing it full of gauze. And especially with this, too. I mean, she has at least 4 holes just through and through.
Yeah, and this last one looks like it's through her liver.
Yeah, man, I at least through like a few like of the kidneys or something. She's gonna need some intense green tank, stuff if she can get there.
Yeah, like maybe 2 weeks worth. If I'm not
3. I mean, not even a kiss from Johnny is gonna make that a little shorter.
Johnny doesn't have the magic kiss. It's Diz.
It's all Diz, yeah. But this kind of scene just messed me up too, just because, I mean, the Psy itself is all serrated. It's going to hurt even more coming out. I mean, I'm pretty sure these things aren't meant to come out very well. They look like they're in there. They're designed to stay in.
Here's something that's interesting. Knives nowadays are specifically designed to not violate like a Geneva Convention, like, the rules of war, versus this scythe. Because the scythe, it's flatter at the top, then it kind of goes to a point down low. Knives used to be designed exactly like that. They used to be designed triangular. Did you know about this?
Yeah, like I was really into like the designs of like trench knives, or I mean, one of the things that I kind of, when I was younger and wanted, I was kind of like that mall ninja kind of dude. I wanted one of those, what was it? It was basically a brass knuckles with a knife attached to it.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those.
Like, it's basically a big trench knife from like World War One.
But do you know why it was changed from the triangular shape to the more like streamlined, like diamond-ish type?
Yeah, because, I mean, it's more... it's more humane, quote unquote, because otherwise you're like making them suffer more.
Yeah, more or less, because it's harder to close the wound of a triangular shaped knife than it is the thinner ones.
Yeah. So
knowing that and the way this scythe is designed, this is going to be kind of like the end, which is what sucks.
It really does. But Johnny and Ace go and try to get her back into the boat as fast as they can. But we get Xander here trying to get back everyone on the boat as well, too. And he yells for the tower. Tower, come on!
Yeah, because, everybody else is theoretically within the evac area. So it's a proper time to call the tower because everybody could kind of cover their back when they have their back turned running to the boat.
I mean, Tower is the heroes of this whole entire scene because, I mean, they stayed at their post until Xander reminded them, hey, we're leaving, come on guys. They're still up there firing and just laying into the onslaught of bugs.
Yeah. So this part where the tanker breaches, that is in the script, except the only difference is that Ace jumps out to help, and then the hatch closes right at the end.
Okay.
So instead of Xander being the person to call everybody in, it is Ace that's supposed to be doing that. And the whole scene where Dizzy throws the grenade into the tanker's mouth, that was never in the script. Yeah.
So, one thing I did notice when I saw these guys running, because we did notice that they had their visors down beforehand, they don't have them now.
Like we said, it was probably like Bluetooth, like it only engages when you're nearby. Because remember, we were saying like then everybody would have the tactical visual.
I mean, I think they should already, because again, no iron sights.
Well, we're assuming on the fact that it is Bluetooth, that you have to be near it for it to actually engage.
Yeah.
So, well, the tanker breaks a wall, and it breaks in right when the two tower soldiers are running back from the tower, and they get doused in the like the flames here of the tanker bug.
Before that, though, I love their descent from the tower.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of just reminds me of like a Navy thing, just because I remember seeing like dudes in a sub go downstairs this way.
Yeah. One of the ones that's really weird though is like when he first jumps, he has no feet on it. Do you notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just like kind of jumps off, but I think obviously he's going on to a landing pad at this point. But I was like, it wouldn't be the safe way to jump on that and then try and swing your feet into the ladder. Like, you want to stabilize yourself for the drop first.
Yeah.
So, I was wondering, were they trying to film this movie in 3D?
I don't think so, because it never came out in 3D. I think this is more of a scary kind of effect.
But that's why I was wondering if they were prepping it for the idea that it could be released in 3D because of this particular spray, because it comes at you.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it definitely has reminiscent vibes of like the very, very end of Fury Road, where you see the wheel coming at you and everything.
Yeah.
But there's no other part in it that would make it like that. You know, it's because, what's his face, the director of Fury Road, put that part in specifically because, oh, I forgot, yeah, they want it to be in a little bit in 3D, and that's the only part.
Yeah.
So,
see, I was just wondering, because especially with the bug scaling the wall and even this tanker breaching, this could be like the perfect scenes for 3D. So I was just wondering, like, maybe they were prepping for it and then decided it wasn't in the best interest of the budget. But
maybe. I don't know. Like, there wasn't really many 3D movies, because, I mean, the 3D like phenomenon came like a little bit after, like a long time after, like I want to say like 2012.
that is
Like
true.
with Avatar. I mean, Avatar was like one of the first ones that you went to go see it in 3D. This was still the time where like you either had the blue and red, 3D goggles, or you had the weird like huge glasses from like IMAX that would flicker.
I'm starting to think that maybe you're right. Maybe they were starting to do CGI of like the in your face type of effects instead of sometimes they're designed to be in 3D, and then you watch it not in 3D, and it's like, why did they like? It sucks that the entire movie was geared towards 3D, because I'm also thinking about like what other movies were like this where 3D would have made it stand out, but it wasn't. Is Fifth Element. The scene where they're rebuilding her, if that was in 3D, that would have been amazing, but they didn't do it. Same with when they're where they're being attacked at the border. Like, that would have been insane to see that fight scene. It was brief, but then with the way the lasers are shooting out and everything like that,
and you're going along the Monochuan ship, yeah,
it would have been cool in 3D. So yeah, maybe you are right. Maybe this was just geared to be in your face CGI versus kind of filming it for 3D.
Yeah. This, again, I mean, just like the Coral Birdie scene too, this scene freaked me out a lot more because I always had this fear of being melted. The Blob, especially, you know, going back to that movie, freaked me out. And continuing on, I mean, Xander like freaks out. He's like, okay, there's no point saving these guys. But we see them pretty much from the perspective of the dying troopers who are pretty much disintegrating. They're still trying to reach the boat. They're still aware and alive. That's what freaks me out. And their arms are falling off. Their skin is just, their meat is just like coming off the bone. I mean, even their bones are coming apart. It reminds me a little bit of the scenes from, or like from Blade 2, like, or not Blade 2, number 2, but Blade, the first Blade, where, you know, the vampires get hit in the chest with the stakes and everything, and they just disintegrate like that. But, I mean, that's different because those are bad vampires.
See, I'm wondering a little bit on that scene where he's melting, because, I think it's a little bit of a signature that he has. So I'm wondering if like that melting was kind of a form of signature of Verhoeven in this moment with this type of special effects, because you see that soldier melting, and he's used that sort of similar death in RoboCop. The guy gets all the toxic waste on him, and he starts to become melty. Yeah. And at the end, right before he gets hit by the car, he
blows up like a balloon.
Yeah, he pretty much does, but he is like visibly like melting.
Oh man, like that whole entire scene just freaked me out because he was like, I can't do it the voice, but it was like, and everything, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, because there was nothing like that in, I mean, obviously there wasn't anything like that in Showgirls. I don't know. There's like some kind of weird like stripper melting scene. But there wasn't anything like this in Total Recall. The only thing I can think about with Total Recall was the part where either Quaid or Cohagen was, they were outside of the domes and they were like pretty much suffocating, and you see their eyes bulge and everything.
Well, yeah, that's why there is the decompression portion, which is another form of severe what's it
body
called?
Horror.
Yeah.
I think Verhoeven does like body horror, but I don't think it's like just melting body horror, but like definitely body horror is a thing for him.
Yeah.
He likes to make you feel uncomfortable by the way like things are happening.
Okay, so maybe it's not the melting, but he does have that signature of the body horror.
Yeah. Good for him.
Because, I mean, well, I'm not... Have you seen Showgirls?
Only once, and it was when I was younger, so I don't really remember it.
All right, so there's like a... kind of like a rape scene in that movie.
Oh,
and then where she comes out of the elevator. Like, that part to me was a little bit traumatizing. Like, that could be the form of body horror. It's like, these are things that could happen to the body. And it was pretty brutal from my point of view, it was pretty brutal.
Yeah, and I didn't mean for that. Oh, okay. Like to be like, oh yeah, rape. That sounds cool. No, but like, he agreeing with you. Yeah.
Yeah, he actually has that. You know, it. I wouldn't say it was like gory, but it's just more of a natural type of scare. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like one of them's toxic waste, the other one is melting, the other one's decompression. None of them is let's see here, the word I'm thinking of, like phantasmal in a way.
Yeah, okay.
So since they happen like to a natural body, they just become a little bit more horrifying. Maybe it's not like his signature, but he knows that these are kind of triggers for people, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, he definitely triggered me for this one.
Yeah.
But the Skyhook lifts off, and the bugs pretty much just start coming in. The tanker basically just rams his head into the tower, knocking it over, and just coming into the outpost. After that, he turns his head towards the Skyhook and fires at it, hoping to take it down.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't think it was smart enough to try and remove the boosters, but yeah, most likely he was just trying to take it down.
Unfortunately, these Skyhook. I mean, fortunately for our troopers, the Skyhook is a lot more resilient than the trooper's armor itself or skin, and it pretty much just bounces right off.
Yeah. Maybe in a way it was designed for that because it is carrying tons of people that you want to make sure these people at least have the best chance when they're on the ground.
Well, also, too, I'm thinking because these are good for, atmospheric and also space flight. Plus, coming down from space. If you're going fast enough, you do get a lot of, kinetic energy and a lot of heat buildup as well, too, even though these are coming down a lot slower than, a space shuttle or a capsule or something like that would actually need a heat shield. But I'm pretty sure these things are tempered for this kind of, acid/heat.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, regardless, even though it's designed to come in on a slow entry, I'm pretty sure it's made to withstand unstable entry.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that part where the tanker comes in and blasts a bit of its bug juice onto the, I don't know what to call it. It's vitriolic emission.
I'd say just boiling acid, kind of like the Mummy, where they were like, oh yeah, they got boiling acid coming out. Oh no, I'm sorry, not the Mummy. It's Batman Forever.
Oh Jesus!
Oh, it's boiling acid. And then Val Kilmer's like, let me see that, and he takes his earplug or I'm sorry, his hearing aid so he can crack the safe.
Yeah.
Schumacher may have been kind of weird because that was Joe Schumacher, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Gosh, I mean. Yeah, he probably thought it was like old Adam West kind of style, but even still, I like that movie. I don't like Batman and Robin because it's weird, but I think that was like one of the weirder but okay Schumacher movies.
I know that the Batman animated series poked fun at Joel Schumacher. Do you remember that episode?
Yeah, I do.
So, just in case people don't remember the episode, it's where the kids are retelling their versions of their experience with the Batman. They even cover The Dark Knight Rises on one of the iterations. But there's like a kid who's standing right in front of a piano store that's called Schumacher's, and he has like a feather boa, and he's like, I believe the Batman is covered in bright lights and like armor and whatever it was. And then they turn around and go, oh, shut up, Joel.
Yeah.
That one is like one of my favorite jobs at Joel Schumacher because it was actually put into media.
Yeah. But that's really where that minute ends. But one thing I do want to ask before we, pretty much close this episode out. I'm going off of Batman still. I mean, I really still liked Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
No, he was good. I'll give it that. He was good.
Yeah, but I was thinking, who else would you have as the Riddler?
See, okay, I wouldn't have liked all of the costumes that he wore, but he was a good Riddler.
The first costume where he just meets Two-Face for the first time, that's the original Riddler costume that I know and love. Okay. But the weird, like, glittery, like, weird stuff, no thank you.
Okay, around that era, who would I have picked to be the Riddler?
Like late 90s, 1999, something like that.
All right, this may be a weird one, but you would have to kind of imagine it. So, with my pick of who would be the Riddler, I'm picking someone that was popular around the time, so you don't get a no-name.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously not Jim Carrey anymore, because we're going to replace him. 1996, Ewan McGregor. The way he laughs when a car almost hits him could have been a good Riddler. Could have been also a good Joker. But he does have the physical chops to learn how to do the staff twirl, even though the Riddler's not really known for it, because he does show it in the Star Wars films. But I think he could have just done that job properly.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good, actually.
So who'd you pick?
I have two, but I mean, one of them probably is a faux pas now because of allegations and whatnot.
Kevin Spacey?
Kevin Spacey, yeah. Just because of his kind of weird little manic self during Seven. I think he could be I think I would want him to be a more serious kind of Riddler, kind of how Joker was in the Dark Knight Dark Knight series. I think it would be a darker, kind of weirder Riddler, or I'd Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman can play everybody. That's not a fair choice.
I understand, but I mean, I'm just thinking of
you can
the
cast,
Professional.
You can cast a movie of Daniel Day-Lewis and Gary Oldman and have 43 characters, and you wouldn't know.
I don't think Daniel Day-Lewis could do Riddler. I really don't. I'm pretty sure it would be cool, and he would do a really good job. I just don't think he would be able to do it.
I just still don't even believe that the face that Daniel Day-Lewis has in Phantom Thread is his real face.
I have not seen that movie yet.
He's barely wearing any makeup. I assume that's supposed to be what he really looks like. I just can't believe it anymore because I don't. He's been so immersed in every role that you can barely tell it's him because he portrays the actor or the character so well. That's so hard to believe that Daniel Day-Lewis is Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah,
but I just think Gary Oldman and Daniel Day-Lewis are one of those people that they're kind of the Batman in a grudge match.
Yeah, okay.
They can come in if you give them enough time to prepare, they will perfect the role. Same thing with Batman. You give him enough time to prepare, he will win any fight. So it's just kind of not fair to pick those two people, in my opinion.
Well, okay, Kevin Spacey then, even though I'm thinking of a manic, coked up Gary Oldman from Leon the Professional.
Yeah. But the only reason why I wouldn't think of Kevin Spacey is the shape of his face. But I also haven't seen him incredibly thin.
Yeah. I mean, he always kind of has that, round face, but whatever.
But
I mean, again, it's not going to happen.
But that's why I picked, or my choice was Ian McGregor because of the way he played Renton. He was incredibly skinny. He could play Nigma. And I
suppose.
And I think he's 5'9", so he's not super tall, but he's fairly tall that he can give it that lanky look that it needs.
Yeah.
So that's my choice.
Yeah, that's a good place to end it, actually. Do you have anything else you want to say about this particular minute?
Nope. Next minute's it's still gonna carry on to brutal. So let's get this going.
Well, where can they find you, Mr. Han?
You guys can find me on Twitch and Instagram at JDASHD26. You can also find me on Twitter at OMG It's Johan.
All right, guys, and you can find me pretty much anywhere on the internet at AltTabMatt, from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, or anything like that. You can also follow the show itself at The Roughneck Min on Twitter, MIN. You can go to our website, theroughneckminute.podbean.com. I'm sorry, theroughneckminute.podbean.com for any past episodes or show notes. You can go to our Facebook group, The Roughneck Minute Billet, Billet, to get into the conversation and talk about your choices for, say, Edward Nigma or, Two-Face. And you guys please subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Podcatcher, or any other podcatcher you guys can find or use. Thank you guys so much for listening to us. But I've been one of your hosts, Matthew.
And I've been your other host, Johan.
And we will see you on the Bounce Troopers.